To press record. And I thought that it would be a really interesting topic, as there's so much goes on at Christmas time. There's so much doing all the work before you end for the break, and then that's without even getting into the whole Christmas with families and Christmas without people that you wish were there, and presents that you gave people that they didn't really want, and just like there's just like meals that go wrong and plans that go wrong and weather and all of that. And there's so much that I think it can be a really volatile time of year, and where it feels like it should be all Christmassy and bright and happy and everything. Actually, it can be really volatile, or it can be really exhausting. I know for myself, I've always come to this point and then being totally exhausted, but also thinking, right, if I could just get these things finished, like just before about October, I think, do you know what? I'm going to have 3 weeks off at Christmas. And then by this point in December, I think, well, okay, I'm going to have 2 weeks off. And I'm just going to get all these things finished. And then usually then I'm going to have 1 week off and get some sneaky work in between. And then like I say, and then there's the whole, family situations and stuff. So I thought it would be useful to talk about how we can find peace at Christmas with all of that going on. And for me right now, it's really been about, well, I was going to say realizing that it's not about the work and the cramming it all in and the presents and the food and everything else. But that's difficult to see when you're in all of that. I think to really find a more peaceful state, we have to find that space in our heads, that little quiet space in our heads, because outside of our heads, it doesn't look like there's much space out there. So when you've got visitors and you don't really want them to be there, or you just don't feel very social, you just want to stay in bed, or all of that sort of stuff. And I was very fortunate, which is a weird thing to say. I was going to say I was very fortunate because I was ill. But I lost 3 weeks in November in terms of work. I spent a week with my family because we had a baby. And so I spent a week with my family, with the new baby and helping out and bonding and stuff. And then I came back all guns a-blazing to get really into work. And then I was ill, and I was ill for 2 weeks. And during the first week of illness, I felt like, well, this is bad timing, like illness cares. I've got all these things to do before Christmas. I've just got to crack on with stuff. And I couldn't. And I was sort of forced in a way to lie on the sofa and look at leaves through the window. That's about all I could do. And my friend called it leaf gazing. Are you leaf gazing today? And during my leaf gazing, I noticed that I just didn't mind that I was ill. I didn't like it, but I wasn't fighting it. I found peace in surrendering to just how I was in the moment. And that just meant that I just checked in with myself, and I maybe did a little bit of work, and I maybe slept and whatever I needed to do. And as the the first week rolled over, you know, I thought, oh, well, I'll be better after a week. So just surrender to the week off. And then in the second week, I really wasn't that much better. And I certainly wasn't better enough to really work and get on with things. And so I had to surrender again. And that's where the gift came, because I realized that, like, none of it is under my control. None of it is on my timeline. None of it is even going according to my plans, like, and it doesn't care. So life's just moving along and doing what it's doing, and I'm on the journey. And I thought during that time, I thought, what, you know, maybe there's a message here. Maybe there's like a secret message for me to, instead of a secret Santa, you know, there's a secret message for me to hear in this timing of this whole thing. And sometimes I think there are lessons and there are messages, but we don't necessarily always get to know what they are. And this time I thought, do you know what? I think I still do too much. I think I'm still juggling too many things, despite 2022 has been a year of stepping back and not doing so much and so on. Even so, getting quiet, getting rested, even so, I think I was still doing too much. And maybe that was the message. And then I wondered, what would it be like if I just focused on one thing and just did that? I'm not quite there. I'm still in recovery. but I've decided to see what's it like if you just focus on one or two things or three. And why don't I focus on Christmas, is what came to me in the last week. Why don't I focus on, instead of last weekend that just gone being all about how can I cram as much work in as possible between the football and everything else, it became about what are we doing together? What shall we should we get the shopping in this weekend, or shall we do this, and what can we do towards our Christmas plans this weekend? And of course that's made the whole thing feel really easy and organized. And I don't know if this is making sense, but it seemed to me that Christmas was something that I juggled amongst, you know, projects and this thing and that thing and this to-do list. It was like one of the tasks on my to-do list is Christmas. And in this new frame of mind, I looked at Christmas as, well, that's Christmas, not a task on my to-do list, is it? What about if I was just to give over to Christmas and say, you know, where am I in this? And that combination has had me feeling much more together and rested and okay about this morning going back to bed and watching a program and not Netflix, and not trying to say I don't understand time, so when I write my to-do list, it looks like to me it's all possible in one day, and it's probably only possible in about 5. So I don't see that. I don't understand how that works. But what I do see is that now I see, why have you got all of that stuff on your list? Like, you're not going to do it. So just decide you're either not going to do it, or decide you're going to do it another time instead of it every day. Oh, I haven't done that yet. I haven't done that yet. I haven't done that yet. So that was my sort of thoughts on peace at Christmas. And then I started to think about all the other challenges that people face around this time of year. And I thought it would be really nice to have a space where we could perhaps explore that together and see if it could be helpful to just talk about where we're at for the people who want to share, and see what comes from that. Love your hat, Kath. Your your ornament.
My snowman, Jack.
Your snowman. Let's have another quick look.
Hang on. I haven't got nowhere decent to prop my phone because I'm in my bedroom.
That's so cute. Look at that. That's lovely.
It's had a couple of outings. We've got a couple more to go this week. Oh.
How's Christmas for you, Kath, this year?
Strange because I get to actually celebrate it. I'm looking forward to having a Christmas with Reese and Erin, which is wonderful. I've got a birthday tomorrow, actually, first. So,
Nice.
and I'm going to stay with my friend Christmas Day and Boxing Day. And I know it's just going to be wonderful after everything the last 4 years has done. It hasn't gone to plan, as in, I haven't got the children that day and things like that, but I know that'll come next year.
Yeah, well done.
I'm looking forward to the break, and I'm not under that watchful eye anymore.
Yeah, well done. That's amazing. Pardon?
I can let my hair down a bit.
You can. Nice. That's really cute.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm all good. Yes. So I'm having a quiet Christmas day with just my husband, Rob. And then we're going to see the family and spend a couple of days with them. Yeah. And then it's open house for the boys and stuff if they want to come. But we never really know. But we don't do any traveling. We one exception down to Gatwick where the family live. But apart from that, we don't do any traveling now at Christmas time. So we found that to be just too much, just with the weather and everything. And in the end, we just said, you know what? We won't travel at Christmas. We'll travel other times.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Thank you. That's all. You got your hand up.
It's something that's been propping up for me a lot lately. I don't know if you've heard of David Goggins. He's like the toughest man in the world. He's a ex Navy SEAL, and he's just unbelievably. He enjoys pain. Basically, is a very short summary of what he likes to do. So he just does one ultra marathon's not enough. Why not do two or three simultaneously? Finish one ultra marathon, drive to the next one, and do that one. But anyway, he has something that he keeps saying. Are you gonna do it, or are you not gonna do it? Because there's no point trying. And it's exactly what you've just said about Christmas. You're not. This year I decided to focus on it. This year I decided to do it, and it probably took that pressure away from trying to do this and trying to do that. And it's interesting that that's propping up a lot. It's a really hard thing to do though, because there's so many things that I still want to try and do. Like there's projects that I still feel connected to that I want to do, and Christmas. I mean, yeah, I'm still not there with the do it or not do it. My family want to do it, and I don't particularly want to. Hence the hat. And I've got kids, so I don't really have a choice anymore. Like the choice has been taken away from me. But I enjoy the time that I get with them. So even though I'm not trying to do Christmas, I still find there are moments in the whole festive period that I do enjoy. I like putting the tree up with the kids, for example. That's a really cool thing to do, me and the missus might bicker more, so that's not really enjoyable. But there's a balance to things, and yeah, ultimately we come out the other end of it feeling good. So yeah, do or not do. It's an interesting one. It's very
Yeah.
tough, but it's interesting.
Yeah, really interesting. And that reminds me, I like what you said there about the relationships, you know, Christmas being about relationships. And that's the important factor. It's time with people that you don't normally get. I always liked Christmas because everybody else is on holiday, so I don't have to worry that I don't have to check my email, you know, or don't have to check work because everybody else is on holiday, so there won't be a pile for me to come back to. And now I feel like I can extend that to the rest of the year, which is really weird. Anybody else?
Yeah, it is always about people, and that isn't just Christmas. That's all year through. And I
Yeah.
think Christmas, as even if you don't celebrate it for the religious purposes, or if you're forced into it for a commercial aspect, or whatever it might be, ultimately it boils down to pretty much all of us spend more time at home together with each other. And if you don't, then there are places and there are people that can reach out and can provide that community feeling or that community sense of being if you don't have it at home, or whatever. So everybody comes together in some form of way. There's somebody for everybody.
Yeah. Erica.
Sorry. Yeah, so what's going on for me with Christmas, just that's cropped up yesterday and today, is that my auntie's on her own for Christmas because her sons normally come up, but they're not coming up until a couple of days after Boxing Day. And so my mum rang, we're going to my mum and dad's, which is near to her house. And we were just going to be spending Christmas, the four of us, with my mum and dad. And my mum rang yesterday and said, what do we think about inviting my auntie to spend Christmas dinner with us? Which is obviously a lovely thing to do, and we're all mostly happy about that. But then the slight issue has been around my daughter, who loves family time just as our close family, and she doesn't know my auntie at all, really. She's only met her a couple of times, and she's struggling at the moment with sort of school and feeling like she can't really be herself a lot of the time at school. So I'm a little bit torn between, so she's torn herself, my daughter, because she wants to say yes, that we should invite the auntie, because she knows it's the right thing to do, but she thinks it's going to ruin her Christmas. So that's a really tough one, because I want to honour how my daughter's feeling about that, given that she's had a really tough year and she's struggling with that sort of thing. But then equally, I don't want to leave my auntie on her own. So it's, and also if we do say, right, we won't invite her, I think Kaya will feel bad. But then if we do invite her, it'll ruin Kaya's Christmas. So it feels like a bit of a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
So yeah, not quite sure how to navigate that, or
Yeah, that's a tough one. And it's funny because I thought you were going to say if we don't invite the auntie, then but did you say if we don't invite the auntie, then we've ruined Christmas for her? Or Kai will think we've ruined Christmas. Either way, Kai's going to think Christmas is ruined.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, I mean, you know, sort of a bit of a joke, but what came to mind when I made that joke was Sid saying, speak to the highest. You know, what's the right thing to do, but what's the thing that brings you most peace as a family? Like, could you discuss that? What's the thing that would bring us peace? Could we have peace if we decided that auntie isn't coming? And what could we do for her instead? And or could we have peace if auntie is coming? And how could we make that be peaceful? Like, maybe coming from that space in a conversation, so that it's not an either or. At the moment it's an either or, isn't it? Maybe that would open it up to there being some happy resolution for everybody, or more, maybe not happy, but more peaceful, more acceptable.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries, thank you for sharing. I love what everybody's sharing, because we think we're on our own a lot at Christmas with these issues, and that everybody else is having just such a jolly time, and that we're struggling. So I thought it would be nice to have a space where we could say, actually, not me, because I think it's more common than the other way. Chris, you look like you want to speak, or perhaps you're just
oh, yes. No, I was I mean, my Christmas this year is hopefully going to be quite peaceful, because I'm going to stay with my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, and it's their turn to do Christmas, which is nice, because and that's nice. But something that occurred to me, I just remembered whilst, I don't know if somebody was talking, but my dad was a postman, and when I was little, and he was working up the run up to Christmas, we didn't really see him. He sort of came in, went to bed, got up again at about 9 o'clock in the evening and went to work, and so it was 12-hour shifts for weeks, and he could quite often be irritable, or because when he was working shift work, he used to get lots of headaches, and sometimes it would make him quite irritable, which is understandable. But without fail, on Christmas Day, he was always in a good mood. And I know he was doing it for me now. I mean, that he might not have felt like it, but he always was. And I just thought, what a gift, to do that, considering how much he'd been working. And, he probably just wanted to go to bed all day, really, but he didn't. And I just thought that was lovely, really.
Wow, that's nice. The gift of presence is presence. Yeah, and the gift of open-heartedness. That's beautiful. Go on, Dazzle. Oh, I think Carola was just about to go in then.
Let Carola go.
Go on, Carola.
No, you go first, Dazzle. I go after you.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I was just searching for how to raise my hand. So now Jacqueline spotted that. I don't have to work it out after you.
Brilliant. I just wanted to touch on something that Erica was saying with the family dramas. There's no other way to put it, is there? I've had a similar experience with something, and I was racking my brain, because everything happened. If something flows, which it did for us, there was a jarring thing, and then it flowed, and it's gone completely out of my head, because it was a flow. I think we ended up speaking about, because my little one didn't want to share what we had. Basically, that's what it boiled down to. I think that we have this like really cool, really close knit, like unit family thing, and didn't want to spoil that by having somebody else come. It doesn't matter who it was. I mean, it could have been anybody, but even auntie or anybody coming into that three, basically, is what it was at the time, and interrupting what we do. And we spoke to her from basically a what she's experiencing is a love, is a place of love, and a desire to hold on to that and not let it go, which is absolutely right. I mean, don't let it go, and hold on to love as much as you can, but also finding that space to allow other people to have a taste of that, and embrace other people into that love. Doesn't the way that we kind of worded it with it doesn't give that love away. It when you open your heart to somebody, or when you open your heart to something, it doesn't mean your heart is removed. It just means that more love is able to come in, and yeah, you'll never lose that close knit thing. And yeah, I'm really butchering how we communicated it with her, but just having that conversation with her, I mean, she was really young, just having that conversation with her allowed her to sort of see that it wasn't a scary thing. And actually, if something changed, it all boiled down to change. She was scared of something changing, because it had been the same for her whole life. And then not having that fear override the love was what allowed her to sort of change it, allow people in, or do it somewhere different, or whatever the scenario was, whatever it was. Yeah, and I know we're not supposed to sort of like advise each other or anything like that, but that's what I had. And maybe you might find somewhere to have that kind of conversation.
Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense.
I really love that love actually grows when you share it, and we don't always know that, do we? You know, I didn't know that. I clung on tight to love when I was younger. Not that much younger, actually. But you know, until I realized that love grows. Love, there's so much love, and love just fills up more love. So I really love that. I love that. Carola.
Hi.
Nice hat.
Thank you. Found it. Yeah, I wasn't really sure what I was going to share. I mean, I love Christmas, and I start my Christmas shopping usually in about July when we're in Cornwall. There's lots of nice little trinkety shops, and I have, one auntie, a sister, and a friend, a daughter between them, who like angels, ladybugs, white cat gifts. So I sort of scour all the little trinkety shops for these type of things and start stashing them up. So yeah, it's like I just enjoy that. But I just thought I'd just share a story, because similar to what Erica and Dazzle have just sort of talked about, that happened 2 years ago. so 2.5 years ago in the summer, my son had been out to Australia like the year before, and a friend he'd made out there had come over to England to do a year in England. And so I hadn't met him in Australia. I met him here. He came and stayed for a couple of weekends, and I met him. And then my son was going out to Australia in November, and his friend Jacob was going to be in England on his own at Christmas. So I said, expecting him to say no, oh, well, if you want a family Christmas, come and stay with us. Alex won't be here, but, you're welcome to just come. You can have Alex's room, just make yourself at home, just to be sort of friendly, really, but never expecting that he was about a 19, 20-year-old lad who was doing his year out in England would actually want to come and stay with us. And then I told Barry, and my partner, and he's like, yeah, that's fine, no problem, whatever. Anyway, Jacob then brings up a few weeks before Christmas and said, oh yeah, is it all right? I'll come and stay. And I think it was something like, well, I'll arrive like 6 a.m. on Christmas Eve, and then there aren't any suitable trains or something till it was about the 28th or something. So suddenly it's like he's coming for about 4 days. And at which point Barry sort of turned around and said, I thought he was just coming for the day. 4 days. What are we going to do with him? It's like, you know, how are we going to keep him entertained? What are we going to do? Oh, you know, and it was all this that did sort of bring up a bit in Barry, which I was a bit surprised at, a bit like we have our usual little traditions. And in me, it brought up a little bit of like, oh, because in the past, before 3Ps, I'd have a real fear when people, I was a very good guest staying with other people, but if people were staying with me, I'd feel like I had to keep them entertained. We used to live in France, and so people would come and stay for a week or 10 days at a time, not just a weekend like they do in England. And I'd feel guilty if it rained, or you know, like if the vineyard was shut when we got there to look round it, you know. It's like trying to keep everyone happy. So so I did have this sort of brief thought of like, oh, you know, what are we going to do? But then I just thought, well, no, I think he's very relaxed and laid back, this lad. He'll just like being in a family home, not in a shared house. And he works in a bar. So he'd done all his partying before Christmas. You know, I think he'd been out all night the night before he arrived. And it was just absolutely lovely. It was really lovely. It was like having a surrogate Alex around, you know. It's like, because Alex wasn't here. And it just worked out really well. And he joined in with what he joined in. He, you know, sometimes he just took himself off to his room and had an afternoon nap. And it was just like, it went way better than I could have expected. And I actually felt a lot more relaxed about it. In fact, once he was here, I didn't really even think about it. It was fine. But it was like, you know, we don't always know, you know, what's gonna come about. But yeah, and you know, it's nice I did that. And my son was in Australia, been given a family Christmas by my sister and her sister, and seeing Jacob's mum and dad and all the rest of it. So yeah. But yeah.
Nice.
Share that.
So I sort of feel like we're creating some ingredients here. So we've got love, and we've got being relaxed. We're gonna create the perfect Christmas cake.
It's definitely got to have a bit of chaos in there.
A sprinkling of chaos.
Yeah, so just get the sprinkles and just
To
chuck them on it.
A pinch.
A pinch?
A pinch. Not a let the lid come off.
No, lid's off.
Go on, Chris.
I don't know. I don't want to upset anyone, but there's a thing that's been going around the internet about Santa not being real. Have you come across this thing?
No.
But it's a lovely thing where the
fake news.
Yeah, a child has discovered, you know, there's something on the television, they discovered that Santa, and the parents sort of say to him, do you think he's ready? You know, do you think he's ready? And he's going, ready for what? Ready for what? And he said, to become a Santa with us. I could be a Santa. That's who Santa really is, sweetheart. When you're old enough, you learn that giving is better than receiving. You learn to give without asking for anything in return, and you become a Santa, which I think is a beautiful way of sort of transitioning from.
That's beautiful. Hi, Maria. Basil.
BRTech, I've got so many things to click, sorry. Click. Oh no, I did put my hand up. That was amazing, Christine. That I had a recent similar experience with Elsa from Frozen. My little girl saw Elsa at the local pub, because that's where Elsa hangs out, of course. And she took that news to school, and some of her school friends said that Elsa isn't real, and yada yada yada. I don't know if anybody knows Elsa from it's a Disney thing. Elsa, Frozen,
You'll know.
Ice. How could you not? So when she was upset, and I was putting her to bed, and she'd been off since she'd come home from school. This was a few weeks ago, and she was off all evening, and then when I was putting her to sleep, and I said, "Are you okay, baby girl? What's going on? What's the problem? What's the matter?" And she said, "Elsa's not real." And I said, "Whoa, where did you hear that from, baby girl? What? Tell me what happened. What's making you think that?" And she said, I won't name and shame, actually. I looked at the recording icon. One of her friends, such and such, says that she's not real. And the way that I broke that's the same as Santa not being real, really. And the way that I broke it down to her was that all magic, whether it's Father Christmas, whether it's Elsa, whether it's whatever it might be, magic is love. And if you believe in love, you feel love. If you believe in magic, you'll feel magic. And it doesn't matter what other people feel or what other people experience, because that's their journey and that's their experience. And in a weird way, didn't even realize I was teaching her separate realities from 3P. Didn't even know. I've only just had that realization. And she said, "Well, does that mean that I love and I have more magic than other people?" And I said, we all have the same amount of love, and we all have the same amount of magic. Just some people are more attuned to that love and to that magic, and some people are more magic than love, and some people are more love than magic. But if you want to believe that Elsa is real, and if you believe that magic is real, and if you believe that love for that magic is real, then we will make it real. And it doesn't matter if it's not. It doesn't matter if other people think it isn't, or it doesn't matter if it is. Because as you get older, you'll find things that other people don't believe in at all. Whether it's, I was going on the line of religion, and I didn't want to say those words to her, but you'll find things that you believe in that other people think are crazy. But ultimately, what it means is, as you develop into that, you'll be able to feed on that love and feed on that magic. If you shut your heart, you'll shut all of that experiences off. So such and such has shut her heart to it, and she thinks it's not real, and that's it, and that's okay, and that means that she can have space to love something else, and that's perfectly fine. But if you want to believe in it, then we will make it real for you. And she was all crying and, "Thank you, Daddy, thank you, I love Elsa, I love this, I love that."
Oh.
But it's the same as Father Christmas, and yeah, too right. Because now, as an adult, as a father, guess who's making those snowy footprints in the living room? I love it, and I don't like Christmas, so it's interesting that I love it, because yeah, very
because
good.
you believe in love and magic.
Choose to believe in love and magic.
Amazing. So I'm going to touch on the subject of missing people at Christmas. It seems harder when there's all celebrations, and when you know, when it's more alive in your mind to miss people at Christmas. And I know several people here, including myself. And one of the things that we do is we bring that person with us. That person's with us. So, you know, Dazzle's family, I know, like candles, and we like candles too. And we celebrate with that person. We all, or people actually in our case, we always include them in our Christmas thoughts. And even though the form of them isn't there, I feel as though the magic and the love that Dazzle was talking about means that you really bring the spirit of them there to life. And you really get to feel that. Because nobody's ever gone. They're gone from the form only.
We even light candles for our pets that have passed, because we've had Christmases with our pets, and just because when you said that, you made me think of Snoopy, one of our dogs that was, yeah, we had him for many years. There's so many Christmases that little shit he liked opening presents, so whoever taught him to open presents back there was a bad idea. And I've got fond memories of that. I've, like, irritated memories, but when we light candles for all people that to remember, whether they're past or not, people that aren't with us, basically. And we light candles for our pets as well, because we bring those memories back, and we might not remember those memories at any other time during the year. It might randomly come up in a conversation, but it gives us a time to reflect and to think about, yeah, good times and bad times, because you can always find good in bad. And yeah, that little shit.
It makes me think about how Christmas time is a sort of magical time, because it sort of brings us all to that reflection space, or it's an invitation, isn't it, to that reflection space and to that opening of our hearts, and almost melting the separate realities of individualism and separation. It's lovely to see you here, Maria. A real treat.
Hello.
Hello.
I just thought it'd be a really nice one to come and join, and I was right. I don't very often get to many things these days. Just feel so busy all the time, and there's so much on. So and it was really funny. I saw the invitation earlier today, and I thought, oh God, I can make it tonight.
Wow.
And I just couldn't find the link, and then when I did find the link, I couldn't make it work. So I went onto Facebook. I thought, well, I'll just sit and listen. That's good. Interesting, because I love what everybody's been saying. It's been so nice, and Dazzle's such a lovely daddy. Oh my God. And the question that you asked earlier about, and Sid said, I'd never heard that before, about the highest. I think you just said, what's the highest? And I don't know if there was something else after that. That's all I heard. What's the highest? I thought that was really good. What's been interesting for me this year is we've been having a kitchen fitted, and the house is in complete and utter disarray. And first of all, it was going to be finished last Wednesday, then it was going to be Friday, and now it's looking like Thursday, fingers crossed. And so we've got no Christmas decorations up, we've got no cards or anything out, we've got boxes and kit. I'm blurred. I don't usually have a blurred background. Got stuff all behind me. And it's really interesting, because it feels like we're like we've usually got all the decorations and everything up a good week ago now, at least. We're never really early, but we're not late. And it almost feels like we're not getting into the Christmas feeling. And a couple of things that Ash and I have been talking about recently is rites of passage. And it occurred to me while I was listening to people, and I was thinking about all this disarray that we've got here, like the putting up of the decorations is almost like that a rite of passage, taking us from one time to another time. We were talking about rites of passage in terms of, when there's all sorts of things that you can think of, like we were talking about moving into retirement. Lots of people struggle to move into retirement because there's not a an official stepping stone to retirement. And like funerals are a really good example where you have the wake. It's a stepping stone to something else. And I was thinking, to something just as simple and small as putting up the Christmas decorations, how these things can help, or somehow seem to help, with, I don't know, moving us on from this to this and this to this. I don't know, but that's just what occurred to me. I wasn't planning on really saying much today, but
you know, it made me think. I'm glad that you did, and it made me think about the sort of portal, that the ritual or the ceremony of the Christmas decorations is like the portal too. But then how many times, I know that I have many times, bye Kath, thanks so much for coming, enjoy your children and enjoy your Christmas.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful one.
And you. Bye, love.
Bye, darling. Bye. I know that I have put the Christmas decorations up and not been in the Christmas spirit, you know, like maybe as I'm putting them up, you're right, I'm actually sort of getting into it, but it's been a task. You know, one of the things I was saying earlier was it being a task on my list, put Christmas decorations up, and you know, not the spirit at all. And that ritual can get you into the spirit, but equally you can be not in it as well. So like, is it the ritual or is it us? Yeah. Sorry, go on.
It's funny you say that, because a few years ago, Ash and I were really poorly one Christmas, so we didn't wrap any of our presents up, but we still, and what we did is we gave each other the presents in whatever wrapping they turned up in. So the Amazon bags and the John Lewis bags and the Morrison's bags, or wherever, you know, wherever they've come from. And we haven't wrapped a present since.
Yeah, I was going to say, I still do that. I do that. Interesting. So that created a new sort of ritual for you. Yeah,
it definitely took the pressure off, because, you know, wrapping presents had become a bit of a, you know, it's like the Christmas cards and wrapping presents. Like, I have a very big family, and I used to send nearly 300 Christmas cards out at one time, and so like I always did all my favorite people first. Because they got something really nice to write, and by the time I've done, it's like, with love, Maria, with you know, right at the end. And I've cut back, and it was the same with the wrapping of the presents. Like, it would be, I could really enjoy it to start off with, and then as you kind of done quite a lot of them, it's like the feeling goes.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's to do with overdoing as well, you know, because it's becoming something. You're not just doing it from that place to start off with. I love what people were saying earlier about love does not run out, like that. And one of the things I really saw over the years, and definitely I'm going to give my book a plug, it's covered in my book a little bit, is that when I really saw that withholding love is really the hardest. Withholding love is the most difficult thing to do. Giving it away is not difficult at all. And you just get, yeah, the more love you give out, the more you get, the more you feel it, the more you experience it. And it took me a long time to really see that.
Yeah. Title of Maria's book's in the chat. So she can put the Amazon link if she'd like to.
Oh, I'll definitely do that if that's the invitation.
Yeah. As your gift.
Thank you.
Dazzle. Actually, just before Dazzle, Kerry, that might be a nice book for you. Yeah, I'll send you the link. Dazzle.
You're so right, Maria, with pressure to do stuff at Christmas. And I mean, I went, my head went right off because there's like, yeah, the pressure to do the cards. I mean, I get it. Like the first people to get that, and it's like a nice signature, and you put kisses and hearts, and yeah, by the end, love, whatever. Like sometimes, and right at the end, just love. Like you know who the card's from. It's from us. There you go. It's got a picture of our family on the front. What else do you want? But pressure to buy people gifts as well, and Jesus, financial pressure is absolutely insane, and it's something that I've felt more and more as my life has enhanced. You know, I've got 2 children now, so financial pressure increases, and I've got, I passed my driving test, I've got a car, financial pressure increases, and responsibilities, financial pressure increases. And then Christmas every year, like, yeah, like more people, other people are having babies as well, and then the financial pressure to buy those people more gifts because they've got babies. And I have the same argument with my wife every year because I kind of disagree with that. I if I buy somebody a gift, it's usually well thought out. I'm thinking of that person, and either something materializes, I find something somewhere random and it's like the perfect gift, or they get nothing. And my wife is, nope, on Christmas such and such person is having £15 worth of plastic, and such person's having £15 worth of plastic, and they've got 3 kids, so they're all going to have £45 worth of plastic. Like, what? It's just absurd to me. But she finds pleasure in that, and she finds this Christmas spirit in that, so she finds the love there. And this is the first year, exactly, and I'm glad you touched on it. This is the first year that I'm more love gives more love, and for the first time I've sort of stepped away from the financial pressure of it, and yeah, I've worked more, so I've earned more money, so maybe that has something to do with it too. But I definitely feel a shift in myself where I said, okay, I mean, you do how you want to do, and this is our budget, and you do that, and I'll do my thing, and we won't argue about it. And she's spent less money this year than she's ever spent, which is really interesting. But pressure can come from everything, whether it be cards, whether it be financial, whether it be just trying to organise to get to see your family, and trying to, yeah, lots and lots of pressure. But it's easy to get overwhelmed in it, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. Like the financial pressure that I've released this year, I had no control over it. I don't know why I was trying to battle with it. You know, if I gave her a budget, which I don't know why I never did. I just got frustrated that the joint savings would get spent or whatever. You know, I never said, well, let's do it like this. £15, that's too much. I'd go, that's too much for that person. And so she'd reduce it to 10 or something, and I'd still disagree with it because ultimately it wasn't the person and the money, it was the things that she was buying, and we never really had that conversation about it. But when I realized, and I said, you find joy in this, and that's good, and I want you to be joyful. I've rambled there. I've lost myself a little bit.
Brilliant. No, that was brilliant. I totally heard what you were saying there about in our pot now we've got relaxation, we've got a whole heap of love, a tiny sprinkling of chaos, turn the pressure down, and what occurred to me was you do the things that bring you joy. If you want to go for a run on Christmas Day and you can square that, you go for a run on Christmas Day, or yeah, if that brings her joy, why not do that? It's beautiful. Ria.
Well, the thing that really occurred to me while Dazzle was talking is that pressure really only comes from one place anyway. All those other things that we kind of make up, it comes from this and it comes from that. And the last few years, certainly, I think the pandemic was a real kickstart to it, for us taking the pressure off ourselves over Christmas. Like, I think the last few years, I've gone into Christmas with no plan as such, in terms of, I always had a really good idea before Christmas, a list of all the people I was buying for, a list of all the ideas that I wanted to get them, a list of all the cards and everything. I've still got a list of Christmas cards. That's I wouldn't be able to I wouldn't remember the people I want to remember if I didn't, or maybe I would. Yeah, like, I've really taken the pressure off and seen how, even without all of that thinking and without all of that pressure, Christmas still happens. All the gifts get bought, and they're often surprising gifts. I love what Dazzle said about, waiting for the right gift to show up rather than, having a fixed amount of money you spend. And I've really seen that over the last few years, really. And this year is the same. We had even more so. We had even more getting in the way. And although we have no decorations up, like, we have gifts bought, cards have been written, cards have been posted. Some of them were, only posted today. Some of them were posted a couple of weeks ago. But everything just happens in the moment when it feels right, as opposed to deciding in advance when I'm going to do everything. So it's just been really interesting how even without all the pressure, all the the thinking, all the stuff that we've got to do and get done by a certain day, it still happens.
It sounds like to me you have got the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying we haven't got the Christmas spirit as such, but it's just, yeah, we probably have. There's just no decorations up, which is interesting and unusual.
And maybe you'll start a new tradition.
Yeah, maybe.
Just a bit of mistletoe.
we have been reducing our Christmas decorations over the years as well.
Yeah.
So I used to have I had this thing where I always had to have a real tree, a real pine tree. And yeah, it was always lovely. And then a few years ago, we decided to just get one of those that looks like it's got no leaves on it, but just got lights all around it, and it's lovely and it's dead easy. And there's no pines to clean up afterwards.
Yeah, there you go. Amazing.
And I think it goes a little bit to your question earlier about what's the highest again, because in another way, it's like with the ease. I don't mean about what's the easiest, but what has the most ease. Because there's so much. There feels like often so much to do at Christmas. Like, if we could just do it all with ease, or do what's needed with ease, maybe that makes it easier as well. I don't know.
And that's certainly what I've found for myself this year, Ria, is that I've got less in my head about all the things that need to be done. So it feels like everything's getting done with more ease. And on the perfect timing as well. It just feels like, yeah, very interesting the way just having less on my mind and letting things flow a bit more, and having doing Christmas, deciding to do Christmas rather than it being something that I've got to fit in, has just really made the whole thing far more relaxed and enjoyable. So it's been so nice. It's been so nice get together with you. I feel really blessed and grateful to everyone here. Are there any final words, thoughts, questions, comments?
Just thinking about my bloody dog eating those presents. Can't wait to go downstairs and tell my wife. Check those presents.
You know it was never Snoopy, really, don't you?
Oh my God. Don't put that in there. That's it. Those Ring cameras, indoor cameras, are getting set up this year. Finally.
So I invite you to just take a moment and lower your gaze if you want to. Just take a moment to seal this session, this time together, and reflect on anything that pops into your mind that's been helpful or useful, or just that you were pleased to hear. And take that away with you as your gift from us. Lots of love for a peaceful Christmas.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, Erica.
Merry Christmas.
And Carola. And Kerry.
Christmas.
And Katie and Chris and Ria.
Have a lovely Christmas, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.